Hello everyone, it is me, the friend of all kaiju, Alex the Hunted, and if you saw from my last review, I made a wheel of kaiju movies which I'm going to spin at the end of every review and review the film it lands on. And for the first spin, it landed on a movie that we were probably going to have to deal with someday, a monster that has always been in the Big G shadow. That's right, today I am talking about Gamera, the first ever Gamera film to be precise. And well, I think it's safe to say, if you thought Godzilla got weird and crazy, you ain't seen nothing yet. So before I start this review, I have to point out that I had quite a bit of trouble getting a English dub of the original Gamera movie. And, well, the one English dub that I could find, well, the video quality was very poor. So for this review, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to make do with the original Japanese version, and you're just going to have to do with reading some subtitles. So, you know, a little bit of reading won't hurt, so let's begin. So our movie begins with a scientist called Dr. Hidaka, heading to an Inuit village, just as some unidentified jets fly overhead and fly over the boat that they came on. So they send a message to the US base that's in the area. And people make fun of English dubbing of Japanese movies, but then again, the Japanese do seem to find some of the worst American actors, like this.
Unidentified aircraft, sir.
Have you spotted anything on your radar screen?
No, sir. It must be coated with anti-electric wave paint, sir.
I couldn't remember my one line. And then we also have this general man who sounds a lot like the Penguin and also feels like he came off a Coleman Francis movie.
There's an unidentified aircraft flying on course 84.27 degrees north latitude and 176.58 degrees east longitude. Intercept and escort it to the base. If it resists, shoot it down.
So the army sends out their finest toy jets on strings to deal with the mysterious jets, shooting one of them down, causing a huge explosion because it was carrying a nuclear weapon. Back with the good doctor in the Inuit village, they get a pretty good look at the blast, which if this was the real world and they were this close to the nuclear explosion, they pretty much would have been blasted into their own shadows. But no, what it actually does is wake up the monster Gamera. So as our opening credits scroll along, we get a good look at Gamera, like every single part of him. We see his head, his legs, his head again, his back, his chest, his back again, and his head for a third time. I do like how this movie doesn't waste any time with anything. It's the bomb explodes, wakes up the monster, no mystery, let's just destroy things. Then we hear Gamera's roar, and I don't know about you, but out of all the kaiju roars I've heard, Gamera has to be one of the most annoying roars. It kind of sounds like a combination between an air raid siren crossed between nails going down a chalkboard. We also get some more amazing acting from the Americans.
Answer!
Impossible to make contact, sir.
Impossible hell, nothing is impossible. Keep trying.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I think somebody is sending out radio jamming waves.
What are you doing about it? Find out where it's coming from.
Yes, sir.
I also feel like I've lost the ability to enunciate my lines, sir. So the Inuit chief tells the doctor about Gamera, saying that he is the devil's envoy. Just as he says that, Gamera himself shows up, attacking the ship and destroying it, killing all the crew, but not before the ship gets out a message warning them about the monster.
Commander. Last message from Chidori Maru.
Huge turtle. 60 meters. What's going on around here?
A huge turtle I could use to destroy Batman! Whack, 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 whack. So somehow Dr. Hidaka and his assistant managed to get back from the Arctic despite having their ship destroyed. And they've made it all the way to New York to warn the people about Gamera, while talking to this interviewer who has a really weird, subtle voice.
Good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, we have special news and an extra guest, Dr. Hidaka.
He kind of sounds like a creepy ASMR guy to me. So the Doctor tells the world about Gamera and how deadly he is. And for once, in one of these monster movies, the military and the people actually believe him and don't just shrug him off as crazy. I've got to say, it's pretty refreshing to see that in a giant monster movie. We then cut to Hokkaido and the lighthouse where we meet the real monster of this film. No, not Gamera, but this bloody annoying kid called Toshi. Now they do explain that Toshi is a bit of a loner and gets bullied at school, and his only friend is his pet turtle. However, after watching this movie, I can completely see why his only friend is a turtle, because a turtle just can't get away from this Toshi kid fast enough. Because my god, he is one of the most annoying kids I have ever seen in a movie. So yeah, Toshi loves turtles, like creepily loves turtles. Like, more than that, I like turtles kid. It's got to the point that his school's teacher has had to speak to Toshi's parents about the fact that all he draws and writes about are turtles, and he just keeps on bringing turtles into school. Like, this is a psychotic level. This is a supervillain origin sort of level of creepiness. It's gotten to such a point that his father has forced him to get rid of all of his turtles. And it's kind of odd because he loves turtles, and Gamera is kind of like a prehistoric turtle, but he is neither a mutant, a teenager, or a ninja. He is just a giant turtle. So really, if you think about it, Toshi just has to wait for the 80s to come around before it becomes okay to love turtles.
その亀を離してやり。その方が亀も生まれ故郷へ帰れていいし、お前も亀のことは忘れてしまった方がいいんだ。
亀を捨てたらね、お父さんが何でも好きなもの買ってくれるって。
買ってやるとも。
Anything I want? Well then, I want another turtle. Will you shut up about your goddamn turtles? So Toshi has to let his turtle go called Chibi, as for some reason the subtitles call it Pee-wee. But it's okay because Toshi gets a new turtle, a much bigger turtle. That's right, Gamera shows up. So yeah, everyone tries to flee Gamera, apart from Toshi, because Gamera is a turtle and Toshi is an idiot. And goes right up to the lighthouse, right in front of Gamera, just as he destroys the lighthouse, leaving Toshi dangling over the wreckage and the cliff. Just as Toshi falls, Gamera catches him. No, that doesn't happen, but I kind of wish it did. No, Gamera saves Toshi because Gamera goes down the whole Godzilla route of starting out as the villain and later becomes the hero of the series. And that's why he gets the name of the Friend of All Children. And because of this one thing, Toshi decides that Gamera is his new best friend, and goes ahead and decides to follow him for the rest of the movie, meaning that we will never get rid of him. Hooray! So Dr. Hidaka goes to the military to tell them all he knows about Gamera, and to come up with a plan to deal with the deadly turtle, just as he is spotted closing in on a geothermal plant.
岬に現れて灯台を破壊したガメラは一旦水中に没し、今から15分ほど前に地熱発電所に向かって接近中を発見いたしました。
地熱発電所とおっしゃいますと？
私から申し上げましょう。
That's right, Dr. Hidaka knows everything about a giant monster that up till now was just a legend, but knows absolutely nothing about a geothermal plant. He's a doctor. Anyway, Gamera doesn't give a damn about clean energy sources and attacks the plant, just as the military show up to open fire. But because Gamera is a giant turtle, he has one hell of a hard shell, so the military do hardly any damage to him. But this is a giant monster movie, so you probably already knew that by now. But they do find out that Gamera attacked the plant because basically he eats fire. Like, he literally needs to eat fire as a food source to survive. It gives him all his strength. And I literally mean he eats fire. And how does the movie show him eating fire? Well, by basically reversing the film. Oh, and you can clearly see the flamethrower torch coming out of his mouth. Annoying Toshi shows up to say that Gamera doesn't want to be mean, and it's not his fault that he's destroying everything and probably killing loads of people. My god, I hate this kid. But I also have to hate the grown adults in this movie for not beating Toshi around the head saying that Gamera is a monster and will kill us all. No, they just go, "Ah, isn't that cute? You like turtles." So the doctor thinks that if Gamera gets stronger because of fire, then surely ice and the cold will make Gamera weaker, since he was also found trapped in ice. So they make a plan to freeze Gamera again, with these ice bombs that they just so happen to have. But the ice will melt, giving them only 10 minutes to think of a way to finally get rid of Gamera. So as Gamera is being frozen, the military plan blowing up part of the mountain he's on to flip him over onto his back, because once a turtle gets on his back, they cannot self-right. So they'll just basically leave him there to die of starvation. But I say they should feed Toshi to him. So as the jets begin their air raid, bombing the hell out of Gamera, freezing him on the edge of the mountain, the ground troops begin planting explosives and they finish just in time to blow up the side of the mountain, flipping Gamera on his back. So with the plan a success, the Doctor and the military celebrate, thinking that they have finally defeated Gamera once and for all. But we still have about an hour of the movie still to go, so how is Gamera going to get out of this one? Is he going to use a rock to flip himself back over? Is he going to bash away at the ground till it gives way and flips him back over onto his feet? No. This is Japan, remember. What they come up with is way more weird and way more amazing. Let's watch.
空を飛ぶとはの。
That's right! Gamera can fly, pulling his limbs into his turtle shell and firing jets out of the holes. How can Gamera do this? It's never explained in the whole entire series of these movies. But my god, isn't it just amazing to see a giant spinning jet-powered flying turtle monster? I love Japan. We then cut back to Toshi as he comes to ruin the movie some more. He goes to the Doctor, who is trying to think of a way to deal with Gamera, but Toshi goes off on a rant saying that Gamera isn't a bad guy, he's just lonely. He doesn't want to attack us, and if we don't attack him, he won't attack us, and for Godzilla's sake, kid, shut the fuck up. Seriously, every time this kid comes on screen, the movie grinds to a screeching halt that is so harsh, I'm surprised that the occupants inside this movie didn't die of trauma. So a news report shows all the damage that Gamera has caused. But it's not so bad because Gamera just seems to be attacking the stock footage. So as the Doctor talks with the UN about a way to deal with Gamera, they tell him about a plan they have called Plan Z.
This Plan Z can't possibly fail!
I guess they've already exhausted plans A to Y, and we actually don't find out about Plan Z yet because it's all top secret. So anyway, we cut back to Tokyo Airport where Gamera starts flying over. And you know, don't worry guys in the Watchtower, remember if you don't attack Gamera, he will be your friend and he will... And never listen to Toshi. So Gamera starts attacking all of Tokyo's model cities as we then just cut to a music video. Well really it's actually a nightclub full of youths who are told that they need to evacuate and are warned about Gamera coming to attack. But they just decide to ignore it and keep partying. But then guess who attacks the club? But it's okay, because these teenagers are still kids. I'm sure Gamera, the friend of all children, will spare them. Or not. Toshi, please, for the love of God, just leave this movie. Or shut up. Never say another word. I hate you. How could you possibly not think Gamera is evil? He has killed thousands of people. And for being the so-called friends of all children, I bet he's damn well killed a lot of them too. You're an idiot, Toshi. You're a bloody idiot. So Gamera leaves Tokyo, showing us all the stock footage he has destroyed. We also find out that Toshi has run away from his carers. I kind of hope he's ran off a cliff, but we'll never be that lucky. We then come back to the Doctor where they say that Plan Z is nearly ready and they need 24 hours. So they need to find a way to keep Gamera busy, so they decide to just keep hitting him with trainloads of fuel. So they can keep a fire burning, so that Gamera will stay in the area because of course Gamera loves fire and he will just, basically he's just having a feast. And for the most part the plan seems to be working. But guess who shows up to fuck everything up? Because Gamera is his best friend. That's right, it's the little shit Toshi. He decides to get on one of the train trucks full of fuel being pushed towards Gamera so that he can be with his only friend. A brave worker tries to save him, but of course Toshi has to fight back and struggle because he's basically the most stupidest kid in all of film history. Yes, he's dead! Yes, the kid is dead, Toshi is dead, Toshi is dead. Fuck! Let's continue. So Plan Z is complete, and all they have to do is lure Gamera to the Plan Z site. So they create a path of fire to lure Gamera to Plan Z. With this most dangerous and vital of plans, security must be really tight, so there's no possible chance of sabotaging the one chance that they have of defeating Gamera. But they didn't take into account one thing, a stupid kid who loves turtles. That's right, Toshi comes in again to try and stop the military using their plan on Gamera. He gets caught straight away, but do they lock him up or take him away out of the area? Nope, they just let him go, because everyone in this goddamn movie is a moron. So as Plan Z starts taking into effect, boats start pouring fuel into the sea to set it alight.
These are not toys.
So as the fire rages, Gamera comes along and eats the flames, getting closer and closer to the Plan Z site. But things go wrong because it seems even God is on Gamera's side, because out of nowhere, a typhoon that has never been mentioned until now comes and blows out most of the flames. And Toshi of course has to be a little bitch and tries to warn Gamera not to come closer. The military desperately try to create another fire to attract Gamera. It seems to be working, but again God strikes and makes it rain this time, putting out the flames. And the military and everyone who helped basically just give up depressed because they couldn't beat the elements. Everyone that is, apart from Toshi. He's happy because his only friend, a giant murderous city-destroying turtle, is going to be okay. Until a volcano erupts for no reason, leading Gamera to the Plan Z site. Sorry humanity, I was just messing around. Even I hate you, Toshi. You will get no friends, not even Gamera. I hate you so much. So the military activate Plan Z. And after all this build-up, what is Plan Z exactly? Well, it wasn't a plan to destroy Gamera. No, it was a plan to trap Gamera in a giant rocket. Yes, a giant rocket they built in less than a week, with a launch pad and everything that basically took NASA and the Soviet Union absolutely years to make. The Japanese can do it in 1 week. And given that they said that Gamera is 60 meters tall in this movie, that rocket must be a mile tall. But anyway, they blast Gamera off to Mars because basically they're wiping their hands of the problem of Gamera and just leaving it to the Martians to deal with. My only disappointment is that Toshi wasn't tied to the end of the rocket, but oh well, as we see the rocket with Gamera inside shooting off into space, our movie finally ends. And that was the original Gamera movie. How was it? Well, it's just insane. And it's the best kind of insane because it's that 60s cheese kind of insane. As a movie, it's absolutely no competitor to the original Godzilla movie. It can't even hold a candle to it. But that doesn't mean that there aren't some good stuff in there. For example, the actors, apart from the American ones, do a really good job. They act very well together and they do come across the seriousness of a giant turtle attack. The miniature sets that Gamera destroyed are really well put together. They don't just feel like just cardboard boxes that are being blown up. They actually feel like they're kind of built out of small Lego bricks, so they kind of just fall apart every time they get hit. The real killer for this movie though has to be Toshi. I mean, every single time he is on screen, this movie just dies. He is one of the most annoying kids I have ever seen in any movie. They kind of try to make him sympathetic, but really, at the end of this movie, you can kind of see why he was bullied at school. Just the way he acts, he is so annoying. And it just gets to the point where you kind of want Gamera to kill the kid in some kind of ironic death. But, you know, it's a Japanese monster movie. It wouldn't go that dark. Well, at least not in the 60s. If you really want to watch a kaiju movie, this is about 88 minutes long, so it's a very short sit. If you really want to watch this, I would probably suggest watch the MST3K riff of this movie. It's a lot more funnier, and you can actually make Toshi way more funnier and bearable than I ever could in this review. If you want to watch a Gamera movie, I wouldn't say the original is a good place to start. There are way better Gamera movies out there. So, you know, if you really want to see every single Gamera movie, okay, go for it. But apart from that, it's a pretty bog standard monster movie with a very annoying kid. So with the first ever Gamera movie done, let's go back to the wheel and spin it, and I'll see you guys next time when we review Gamera! Godzilla Final Wars. See you then.